What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is a video review of the Nerf Fortnite SMG-Zesty. This blaster by Nerf is a spring-action top prime magazine-fed blaster with a very snazzy appearance. Let's get into it. Included is the blaster, stock, barrel, magazine, darts, and instructions. External overview of the blaster starting up at the front. This is the included barrel attachment, but it is removable, which reveals an in-strike barrel lug. Feels like months since I've said, yes, it does have an in-strike barrel lug. But the included barrel attachment will go onto other standard in-strike barrel lugs, so you can put this on your Strife if you want to. Just like some of the other Fortnite parts, this is not a straight parallel part, it is tapered outward, which gives a unique cosmetic. But other than that, it's just a standard barrel attachment. Right here, we have our front sight, which is just a large ring sight, and behind that is the priming handle to prime. You do that. The prime strength required is in line with other Nerf Elite blasters on the market, and it's a relatively smooth prime. And the priming handle has this nice ridge right here, which lets your fingers catch something for a nice strong purchase. So if you get sweaty palms like me, you can still prime this blaster an hour into your Nerf battle. Moving down, to get the mag out, you pull the priming handle back, then hit the mag release, which is inside the trigger guard, and that slides right out. The included magazine holds 10 Nerf Elite darts, but the blaster is compatible with all of the Nerf magazines that I tested it with. So if you wanted to do that, you totally could. And of course, this is a standard mag, so you can put this in your Strife or another Nerf blaster if you want to. The mag release is on the center line, so a right and left-handed user can use this blaster equally. Full ambi, bro! Moving back to the primary trigger, the trigger pull is pretty standard, but this blaster does have slam fire, meaning when you hold down the trigger, the blaster fires right when the priming handle returns to the forward position. This increases your rate of fire at the expense of accuracy. Moving on, right here we have an unjamming button. After you prime the blaster once, you're not able to prime it again. This overrides that lock, which allows you to clear certain types of jams and malfunctions. However, I did not experience any jams and malfunctions with this blaster. And it is worth noting this unjamming button does not protrude from the blaster. You will need a screwdriver or a pen to activate it. But if they made it protruding, the priming handle would slam into it, so that makes sense. Now down to the grip. Overall, this is a slightly smaller than average grip, but as an adult with a larger than average hand, I think this grip works out just fine. Partially because it's such a small, lightweight blaster. If this grip were on a much heavier, larger blaster, it wouldn't be sufficient. And the grip features chamfered edges, which is a little sharper than it needs to be, but it works. I complain about grips all the time. This isn't my favorite, but it works just fine. And moving up, we have a one-post rear sight, which is just super strange. And finally, back to the stock. This is a removable stock. To remove it, you push down on the orange button like that and slide off. And that reveals a standard Nerf stock attachment point, so if you want to put on a different stock, you totally can. And the included stock is a standard Nerf stock, so you can put this on your Strife or a different blaster if you want to. That is an external overview of the blaster. Now I'll show you it firing. Shooting standard blue Nerf Elite darts. Now some slam fire. Operating this blaster went just as expected. I did not have any surprises, jams, or malfunctions. And even the slam fire worked smoothly. I didn't jam it even when I ran it pretty hard. Nerf's been doing spring-powered top prime magazine-fed blasters for a while, so they didn't mess anything up on this one. To compare the firing performance to others, I put this blaster up on my chronograph and achieved an average velocity of 64 feet per second shooting Nerf Elite darts, which is shooting a little bit slow compared to the Nerf par of about 70 feet per second. So it's not terrible performance, but it is below average. That is the objective information I can provide on this blaster. Now to my personal opinion. Overall, I am very satisfied with this blaster. They set out to do something, and they did it. What they set out to do isn't particularly special, but they still did it. The priming action worked smoothly. I didn't have any jams or malfunctions, even when I pushed it pretty hard. The firing performance isn't great, but it's not terrible. And cosmetically, this blaster, in my personal subjective opinion, looks so cool. The proportions are just amazing. I dig the stock. I dig the barrel. It's just a compact little SMG blaster. I think this one looks amazing. So overall, a very positive opinion on this blaster. Now to the question to buy or not to buy. If you're a performance-oriented Nerfer and you do not modify your Nerf blasters, I do not recommend you purchase this one. The firing velocity is slower than average for the Nerf standard, and Dart Zone has redefined what average is, so you'll get outgunned in a stock blaster war. If you're a modder and you want to crank up the spring potential, then yeah, you can buy it because it looks really cool. But if you're all about performance, I personally would recommend you look at a pump action blaster like an Alpha Trooper. It's just a little bit more functional when it comes to sustained fire than a top prime spring blaster. But if you're not a performance guy and you're a plinker and the emotional response you have to your blaster is more important, this one is really fun. fun. It works smoothly, no jams or malfunctions, and it has slam fire. Sure, the muzzle velocity is a little below average, but it's not terrible. It's still fun to play with this blaster. And it looks super cool. It handles super well. It's just a fun blaster to play with. Of course, that's my subjective opinion on the cosmetics. If you don't think this cosmetically looks cool, don't buy it. That, in my opinion, is the reason you buy something like this, because you think it looks super cool and you want to play with it. And if that fits you and you're not a competitive Nerfer, yeah, consider checking this one out. But hopefully I've laid out all the information you need to make an educated purchase decision. If you'd like to purchase one of these, I'll put a buy link in the description box below. That concludes this video review. Thanks so much for watching, bros, and as always, stay tactical.